Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're looking at Like This by ELDO. This one, I don't quite like this. It's okay, it's just not really my cup of tea. In the opening, I get an artificial sweetness that I don't like, that's a little bit too sweet and reminds me briefly of things like Decadence by Marc Jacobs. Not fully, but kind of that direction of sweetness, but only as an initial top note that fades very quickly. But the initial sweetness that I get reminds me of a synthetic designer fragrance, and I don't like it, and it's too sweet. So after that initial kind of oof of this sweetness, it mellows out a little bit, that kind of vibe goes away, and it's replaced by this, I would say, an abstract idea of pumpkin. It doesn't really smell of pumpkin at all, in my opinion. Pumpkin is listed on the notes. I can kind of get it. I can kind of get what they're trying to do as an impression of it, but it doesn't really work, and it doesn't really smell of pumpkin. I can't really word this very well. It's not quite there, but I kind of get it. It's the way it comes across. The way it comes across is slightly aldehydic, almost like there's like mandarin aldehyde or something along those lines behind it. There's a muskiness to it without being directly musky, but there is a definite synthetic musk-like blanket covering the whole thing, which I'm not keen on. And there is a ginger note in the opening, but I would by no means describe this as a spicy fragrance. It's definitely not on my skin. Skin chemistry dependent. I've heard different things from different people, and it seems like ginger is way more prominent on some people's skin. Skin chemistry is subjective to each individual. It's quite surprising how dramatic the changes can be on people. For me, the ginger, more of a subtle element and very brief, like within 5 minutes and it's gone. So not a huge contributing factor. You get a nuance of it in the opening, again not spiced by any means, with this some sort of abstract idea of pumpkin that doesn't really do the job. That's slightly sweet, slightly aldehydic, slightly musky, and as it dries down, it has very, very subtle nuances that don't smell natural, but there is heliotrope and immortelle listed in the note breakdown. I think the impression of those style notes gives it a slight sweetness without smelling of Play-Doh or without smelling dusty and powdery, but you get a hint of a sweetness. I think the effect of that, tonality-wise, texture-wise, seems to turn this into reminding me personally of a bathroom cosmetic product. Specifically, kind of, I can imagine a bath bomb smelling like this. You know, the big bowl things that you drop in the bath and they kind of fizz around and, you know, they smell a little bit of something. This, I can 100% imagine a bath bomb smelling like this. That's kind of what it reminds me of. I don't find it that interesting personally. There's not enough nuances or character to the fragrance to please my nose. I can get that other people would like it. It's comforting, it's soft, it's a little bit sweet, it's a little bit musky. It's just generally a friendly, easygoing fragrance, but it just doesn't do anything for me at all. It doesn't captivate me, it doesn't interest me, it doesn't excite me personally. So that's the best way I can describe this fragrance to you. Really not much change apart from that initial sweetness that I don't like that disappears. From like the first 10 minutes to the end of the dry down, there's really no change apart from the ginger disappearing. Again, which is in the first 10 minutes anyway, so really no change, it just mellows out. I've heard people describe this smelling vegetal and like garden. I don't get any of that on my skin. It doesn't smell vegetal in the slightest. I don't get anything remotely that smells like a garden for me personally on my skin chemistry, so that isn't a factor. I feel like a lot of people are going to disagree with this review, but maybe this is one that is different for different people. I'm not sure. I just feel like I have a different experience with it to what I've absorbed from other people. So you might disagree with this one, but there you go. It just shows how subjective perfumery is. Performance is, yeah, sits close to the skin, doesn't hugely project, and has gone in about 5 hours on my skin. Again, I think this one is skin chemistry dependent. I think some people will get more nuances, some will get the pumpkin more, some will get the ginger more, you know, and it will perform a lot better on some people. All I can do is give my personal experience with this fragrance. So it's one that I didn't particularly enjoy wearing. I found when I smelled it too close it gave me a headache. So it's just not my cup of tea personally. In terms of season, autumn is the ideal season for this, and it's a kind of a casual wear fragrance. I can't imagine it being dressed up or like wearing it to work particularly. It comes across more kind of daytime casual in the autumn, and it's completely genderless. Doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, totally unisex. That's about as good as I can describe it for you. It's just not that exciting to me personally. If you've tried it and you really like it, let me know in the comments. Maybe you can describe it better than me. I actually found this one hard to describe. I try and paint a picture when I talk about a fragrance. This one I did struggle with, to be honest. The best analogy I can do is that it reminds me of a artificial sweet designer fragrance in the initial blast of the opening, going into something that smells like a generic-ish kind of bath bomb in a way. I'm not sure bath bomb I'm not sure really. Somewhere between a bar of soap and a bath bomb, without particularly smelling too soapy, but I can still imagine a block of soap smelling like this in the dry down, as well as a bath bomb smelling like this. It just gives me that kind of, not cosmetic in the sense of makeup, but kind of that product range of materials. It kind of gives me those vibes. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully I described it in an accurate, good way for you. I think it's subjective, but there you go. That was my take on it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you again next time with another one.